Folks, in these interviews that I'm doing with multiple YouTube preppers, I like to ask questions that aren't typically answered in these type of interviews. I like to find out from our favorite YouTube preppers, what they did before, what they did for work when they were younger, jobs they held before their channels, the most dangerous situation that they've ever been in. And then I also like for them to tell us, the viewers, something that would really surprise us about them, just something that we wouldn't learn from watching their channel. But Prepper Action, first let me say I'm really excited about doing this interview with you. I discovered your channel several months ago, and in fact I think it was Prepper Potpourri that actually gave you a shout out, and that's how I discovered your channel. But I have found that your channel is a great wealth of information for us preppers. Your videos cover just a large array of prepper topics, such as urban survival during SHTF, and then team movements that you practice or that you train with your militia group. Just a ton of different topics that your channel covers. So Prepper Action, let's jump into the first question for you. So Y2K was the thing that got me first started thinking about prepping, and then it was getting actually dispatched on a riot that actually got me not just thinking about prepping, but actually starting to prep. So brother, why don't you tell us what actually got you into prepping? What made you start prepping? Did you just suddenly come to the realization one day that you needed to be better prepared, or did you just kind of gradually grow into it? So let us know, did something happen or did it just come natural for you?
So why did I start prepping? I live by an airport, by the way, so yeah, the things I have to deal with when I'm doing a YouTube video. Anyway, to get where I was at. Started at an early age when I was a teenager and got my first vehicle. It was a 1978 Datsun King Cab. It was a two-wheel drive, but I like to take it off-road, and inevitably I got stuck in the sand and had to dig myself out, but I didn't have anything to dig myself out with. So the next day when I freed myself and got home, I went to the Army Navy surplus store that's a couple miles away, and I got one of those Army Navy entrenching tools, a kind of folding shovel. And I got some other gear at the Army Navy surplus, and I thought, well, this is kind of a cool place. I'd go there like once a month and see if they got new gear, different kind of surplus gear, and I'd start kind of collecting some stuff. Also, I liked camping. I still do. And as you know, with camping, you got to have some gear. You got to have the tent, the backpack. You got to have some knowledge how to build a fire, build a shelter, that kind of stuff. Then Katrina happened, and my wife and I talked, and we kind of came to the agreement that we need to have like water supply, the knowledge of how to filter and purify water, and also some long-term freeze-dried food. So we got that started, and we really didn't realize we were preppers until that show from National Geographic came on, Doomsday Preppers, and we were watching it, and I was thinking, maybe I'm a doomsday prepper now, I guess. So that's how it kind of progressed and how I got into prepping.
Okay, question number 2 for you. Tell us a little bit about your background. What jobs did you hold when you were younger? What has shaped you into the person that you are today?
So what kind of jobs I had when I was younger? I started as a dishwasher in a restaurant. They promoted me to cook, and from there I delivered furniture. I worked for UPS. I was a drill rig operator. In my 20s, I worked as a mechanical assembler, and then an electronic assembler, and then a foreman in the shop. And then I worked for a company as a truck driver, and they trained me so I didn't have to go to truck driving school, and that's what I do today, along with making YouTube videos. So I think the things that kind of shaped me into the person that I am today would be the people that I've associated with over the years. I kind of gravitate towards people that have self-confidence, and they have talents, and they're intelligent. You kind of want to surround yourself with people that you would admire and want to emulate. I've kind of adopted traits from different people just by observing how they interact with other people. And yeah, just people I've known over the years have shaped me into the person I am today.
Okay, and now for the next question. So several years ago, I had some unknown persons take some wild pot shots at me while I was on a traffic stop. Some unknown persons hid behind a nearby house or something like that and just took about 2 or 3 gunshots towards my direction. Obviously, none of them hit me because, well, I'm here doing this video. So why don't you tell us, let us viewers know, what's been the most dangerous situation that you have ever been in?
I think one of the most dangerous situations I've ever been in was back in my teens with one of my best friends. We both got pellet guns and drove out about 20 miles out into kind of like a chaparral area, and we started walking up this ridge with our pellet guns. We were just gonna pin some targets on a tree and just kind of plink away at them just for fun. And when we got to the top of the ridge, we noticed 2 guys, probably in their 30s, dressed kind of like in buckskins, like leather, and they were carrying black powder rifles. You know, the kind that you have to manually charge and put the gunpowder in. And they didn't look too happy with us being up there. Immediately, me and my friend looked at each other and kind of thought, okay, this is kind of spooky. And they asked us, what are we doing up here? And we said, well, we're just gonna plink away at targets with our pellet guns. Immediately, we both felt the kind of like, this is not a good situation, and how is this gonna resolve itself? So they were probably about 10 feet away from us, and there was this low shrub bush kind of in between us. And as luck would have it, a cottontail rabbit kind of hopped out from the bush and just stood there, frozen. And I said to the guys, hey, if you guys are hunting, there's a rabbit right there in front of us. And they looked down, and one guy leveled his rifle at it, squeezed the trigger, and missed. Point blank range, he missed. And so he went to put powder back in his rifle and recharge it to take another shot. Meanwhile, the second guy aims at it, fires, and misses. At this point, both of them have to reload their rifles. I looked at my friend and I said, this is our time to get out of here. Well, I didn't say that, but I just kind of nudged to, let's get out of here. So we went down the ridge line, and about 3 or 4 minutes later, we heard 2 more shots. And I don't know about that rabbit, but after every time that one of the guys would fire, it didn't move. It didn't even flinch. It just stood there. To this day, I kind of call that rabbit the miracle rabbit, because I don't know how that situation with those 2 guys would have resolved itself, but it probably wouldn't have been good. So always trust your inner instinct, your inner gut feeling. If something's not right, you will know it right away. And trust those instincts. It can get you out of a bad situation, and hopefully, you know, if there's a rabbit around, it might be your miracle rabbit.
All right, next question. Now, I've never been one of those preppers that fixates on one thing that I think will cause SHTF. I try to be as well-rounded about my prepping as possible. And I know that none of us can definitely know what will bring on SHTF. We can only have theories about it. But I would like to find out from you, what are your, again, while we don't know what will bring on SHTF, I would like to know what your biggest concerns are. What's the things that you think has the highest possibility of bringing on a collapse of some kind for our society?
That is a tough question because there's so many variables that come into play. The most likely scenario currently is political turmoil that will result in civil unrest. Me and my wife were talking about this just the other night, and it seems like you can't bridge that divide and come up with a educated conversation with people these days. They're so polarized. It seems like you can't come to any kind of reasonable compromise or conclusion on any ideology or any subject regarding politics.
All right, and for this question, it usually surprises people when they find out that I'm a police officer and a firearms instructor and also an Orthodox Quaker, because usually those things don't meld together so well. So why don't you tell us something that would surprise the viewer about you, something that they wouldn't learn from watching your channel, something that would surprise us.
So, something that would surprise my subscribers and new subscribers to know about me. And that is, I do character voices. Not professionally, but I sure would like to. So if you know any people, send them a note. I do a pretty good Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars, as you will see in this following clip.
In 3, 2, 1. Your feeble Jedi skills are no match for the power of the dark side!
So anyways, folks, I really hope that you enjoyed this interview with Prepper Action. I know I enjoyed making it. If you haven't already subscribed to his channel, subscribe to it. You will not be disappointed, and a link to his channel should be appearing in the upper right hand corner of the screen just about now. And you should be seeing some more interview videos like this that I'll be doing with other YouTube preppers, so please stay tuned. And anyways, folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching, and I pray that you have a good night.